Chair now recognizes himself for an opening statement. President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. That is what Special Counsel Hur found on page 1 of his report. On at least 3 occasions, Joe Biden, quote, read aloud classified notebook passages to his ghostwriter nearly verbatim. On page 200 of his report, Special Counsel Hur concluded that President Biden's disclosure of classified materials to Mr. Zwonitzer risked serious damage to America's national security. It's worth repeating that Special Counsel Hur said that President Biden had strong motivations to share classified information with his ghostwriter. In fact, he had 8 million reasons to ignore the rules. Joe Biden shared some of the classified materials he wasn't allowed to keep, with his ghostwriter, who was writing a book for which he was receiving an $8 million advance. All this, and yet Special Counsel Hur declined to prosecute Joe Biden because, quote, he is a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. And that brings us to today. Following the release of Special Counsel Hur's report, we subpoenaed 6 categories of information from Mr. Zwonitzer related to his work on President Biden's memoirs, including transcripts and audio recordings of his interviews with President Biden. To date, Mr. Zwonitzer has refused to comply with the committee's subpoena. The responsive documents in Mr. Zwonitzer's possession are necessary for our oversight. As an initial matter, we must know the extent to which President Biden disclosed classified materials to Mr. Zwonitzer and his intent behind disclosing that information. In order to do so, and to determine whether Special Counsel Hur appropriately carried out justice by not prosecuting the president, we need the audio recordings and the transcripts. Put simply, they are the best evidence of the president's mental state. Remember, on page 207 of his report, the special counsel said, Mr. Biden's memory also appeared to have significant limitations, both at the time he spoke to Zwonitzer in 2017, as evidenced by their recorded conversations, and today as evidenced by his recorded interview with our office. Special counsel concluded that some jurors may have reasonable doubts because President Biden's apparent lapses and failures in sharing the classified information with Mr. Zwonitzer would appear consistent with the diminished faculties and faulty memory he showed in the recorded interviews with his ghostwriter. Not only did Special Counsel Hur decline to prosecute President Biden, he also declined to prosecute Mr. Zwonitzer for obstruction of justice. Special Counsel Hur found that, quote, after learning of his investigation, Mr. Zwonitzer deleted digital audio recordings of his conversations with Mr. Biden, where President Biden in fact disclosed classified information to him. Audio recordings that the Special Counsel Hur found had significant evidentiary value to his investigation. We need to understand the extent to which Mr. Zwonitzer impeded Special Counsel Hur's investigation by deleting these recordings. But to do all of this, the committee needs the information we subpoenaed from Mr. Zwonitzer. No legal or constitutional privilege protects the information subpoenaed from disclosure. Mr. Zwonitzer has a legal obligation to turn over the requested materials pursuant to the subpoena, and his willful refusal to comply with our subpoena constitutes contempt of Congress. Our oversight is too important to allow Mr. Zwonitzer to willfully disregard our lawful subpoena.